Hey everyone, it's Matt with Tractor Guys Garage, and doing some wiring today, and thought some of y'all might find this interesting because I know a lot of people have a voodoo-ish aspect to wiring, and it can be if you make it, but it's actually not too bad if you break it down and do it nice and simple like. And one thing that I always struggled with learning was with how to do splices in wiring and have it actually work good, like in a truck like this. And the end result looks something like that. It is a heat shrunk and a little bit of liquid electrical tape. Turns it really nice and makes a good solid watertight connection that is almost as good as a factory connection. It's not quite as good, but it is about as close as you can get without using the factory type tools. And I'm going to show you kind of how I do it. And this is just my way. It isn't necessarily the right way, it isn't necessarily the wrong way. It's just the way that I found works for me. So I've already gone and pre-twisted the wires together. You can kind of see that I try not to cut the base wire if I can avoid it here. And if you can kind of see, if the camera will focus, maybe not, the whole goal of it is to just incorporate the wire that you're splitting in, which is this brown wire here, and incorporating into this brown with white that is on top here. So the basically goal of what we're going to do here is we're going to first twist them together and get them incorporated, which I've already done. Now we're going to take and kind of get them to stand upright. It'd be really nice if I had one of those little helping hand deals, but I don't have one, so you make do. We're going to take some solder and some flux. I like using flux, some people don't. Personal preference, I think. I don't have my soldering iron here today, so we're going to go with a little propane torch. Works very well if you use it right. Very low flame though, as you see, very, very low flame. You don't need a lot of heat. And then all we're just going to do is just heat it up with the torch. And as soon as the wire gets up to temperature and that flux burns off, it'll suck that solder in, just like that. Do a little more. And it's important to make sure it is a good solid solder joint. Now we'll let that cool for a second. Since we have both the ends exposed like this, we can do it a way that's somewhat different if you have a full continuous wire. If you have a full continuous wire, you want to take your heat shrink, which in this case is just 1/4 inch marine grade heat shrink. By the roll. It's pretty cheap, actually, even when you compare it to glue heat shrink. This is glue, but it's also a heavy wall. Like I said, it's marine grade. And this is what I use on all my truck work just because it works so much better and it lasts so much better in the environment these trucks are generally in the salt, in the dirt, etc. If this was going to be a continuous wire where we did not have both ends, I would have slid the heat shrink on prior to soldering. But since we have both ends exposed, we can leave it like this. So the other thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of liquid electrical tape, just a little bit, you don't need a lot, and just kind of put a little dab right there, right in that area where the wires come together. What that's going to do is that this heat shrink has glue in it and it will seal around it, but it doesn't have a ton of glue to where you can actually have enough to go all the way around both wires. It'll go around the outsides of the wires, but it will leave a little bit of a gap in the middle. And if you're really worried about it, or like this is going to be a trailer plug where it's down in the dirt and it's likely going to get impacted with a lot of debris and water and all that, it's just a little extra layer of protection. It doesn't cost you hardly anything to do it in terms of time or money. If my torch would light.